Hello, people. In this channel, I'm going to talk about domicile. I am a third year law student and I'll be going to upload videos relating to laws in this channel. So, today we are going to talk about the Indian Succession Act 1925, domicile, and its relevance to succession to property. So, it is covered under BA LLB third year and LLB first year as well. So, Indian Succession Act has 11 parts, 391 sections. 391 because there were earlier, it was when at the time it was made, it had 392 sections and one last section 392. Section 392 was repealed and Schedule 9 was also repealed. So right now we have 8 schedules, 11 parts and 391 sections in this enactment. So the Indian Succession Act is applicable to all Indians other than Muslims. However, certain provisions are not applicable to Hindus and apply only to non-Hindus such as Christian, Parsis, Jews, etc. Since there are no Jews in this country, so it will be applied to Christian and Parsis. If we talk about domicile, so domicile is basically defined in Part 2 of Indian Succession Act of domicile. I won't say defined because there is nowhere mentioned the definition of domicile. Domicile is also known as adhivas in Hindi. If we talk about Indian Constitution, so Article 5 of the Indian Constitution defines domicile. So not defines domicile, but it talks about domicile. So at the commencement of the constitution, every person who has his domicile in the territory of India and first who was born in the territory of India, either of whose parents was born in the territory of India and who has been ordinarily resident in the territory of India for not less than 5 years immediately preceding such commencement. Which commencement we are talking about? We are talking about the commencement of the Indian Constitution. That shall be a citizen of India. So Part 2 of Indian Succession Act from Section 4 to Section 19 deals with domicile. Why domicile is necessary? It is for determining the social status of an individual. Domicile was derived from the Latin word domus, which means a place where a person lives. So there are two ways by which we can deal with the domicile part. The first is section wise and the second one is this kind of we are going to deal with the kinds of domicile in terms of its types: origin, choice and operation of law. First of all, we need to see the part 2 domicile. In section 4 talks about the application of this part, where it can be applied. This part shall not apply if the person deceased means the person who has died, was a Hindu, Muslim, Buddhist, Sikh or Jain. Why? Because these people of these religion or community have their own personal laws and they are governed according to that. If we talk about Buddhist, Sikh and Jain, they are included in Hindu Succession Act 1956 only, and Muslims are regulated according to their own personal Sharia law. So before moving ahead, I would like to talk about a few principles regarding domicile. So the first principle is no person can be without a domicile, and about which we will be talking about it later, that regarding the domicile of a child. So no person can be without a domicile. No person can at the same time have more than one domicile. किसी के भी पास एक डोमिसाइल से ज़्यादा नहीं हो सकते. दो डोमिसाइल्स एक साथ प्रेजेंट नहीं हो सकते किसी के पास, कोई एक्वायर नहीं कर सकता. एन एग्जिस्टिंग डोमिसाइल इज़ प्रिज्यूम टू कंटिन्यू until it is proved that a new domicile has been acquired. एक डोमिसाइल कंटिन्यू होता चला जाएगा तब तक जब तक नया डोमिसाइल एक्वायर नहीं कर लिया जाए. किसी के भी बॉर्न होने पे, किसी की भी बर्थ होती है तो उसकी डोमिसाइल उसके पेरेंट्स के अकॉर्डिंग हो जाती है. उसको डोमिसाइल ऑफ ओरिजिन बोलते हैं, वो हम आगे पढ़ने वाले हैं. डोमिसाइल ऑफ ओरिजिन तो किसी के पैदा होते ही उसकी डोमिसाइल हो जाती है. सो ये इस प्रिंसिपल का एक एक्सप्लेनेशन हो सकता है कि नो पर्सन कैन बी विदाउट अ डोमिसाइल. और Domicile denotes the connection of a person with a territorial system. For example, I have a domicile of India, so I have a personal connection with the territorial system of India. And since I have a domicile here, so I'll be governed according to the laws of India. If we talk about Section 5, Section 5 is law regulating succession to deceased persons, immovable and movable property respectively. So, succession to immovable property in India of a person deceased shall be regulated by the law of India wherever such person may have had his domicile at the time of his death. तो इंसान के किसी पर्सन के डेथ के टाइम पे ये मैटर नहीं करता कि उसका डोमिसाइल कहाँ पे था, लेकिन अगर उसकी मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी इंडिया में है तो वो इंडियन लॉ के अकॉर्डिंग ही होगा आगे गवर्न उसके डेथ के बाद. और इफ़ वी टॉक अबाउट मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ अ पर्सन डिसीज्ड, it will be regulated by the law of the country in which such person had his domicile at the time of his death. अगर मेरी मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी इंग्लैंड में है फॉर एग्जाम्पल एंड आई डाई इन इंग्लैंड, सो the succession to the movable property which I have left in England and I have died there, and I have taken domicile also there before dying. So it will be regulated by the law of England where I had domicile at the time of my death. So for more clarification, whatever I have discussed earlier would be more clear by these illustrations. A person named A. He has domicile in India. He dies in France and he leaves movable property in France, movable property in England, and property both movable and immovable in India. So I forgot to define movable and immovable property. Movable property is something which can be displaced from one place to another, and immovable property is that it remains fixed at a certain place at a certain loci. That is, for example, movable property can include bank balance, your cash, whatever cash amount you have with you, like gold, jewelry, whatever jewelry. These properties are immovable and it can also be distributed after your death. And if we talk about immovable property, it can include a plot, a land, whatever, or a house maybe. So A has both movable and immovable property in India. So the law of succession to whole is regulated by the law of India. How? Because in section 5 we have read that whatever immovable property a person has and he dies will be regulated as per the law of India, no matter where he had domicile at the time of his death. So he had his property in France. Since he was domiciled in India, the law regulated will be of India. Since he was domiciled in India, again it applies to this case as well in England's property. And if the both movable and immovable property in India only, so it will be regulated by the law of India. Another illustration: A was an Englishman. Englishman means he was born in England. So Englandman, he was an Englishman. He was domiciled in France. He dies in India and leaves his property both movable and immovable in India. So movable property, the laws will be regulated by the rules which govern in France, and immovable property according to India. Why movable property will be regulated by the laws of France? Because he was domiciled in France, and immovable property as per section 5. So before moving to further sections, I would like to discuss the importance of domicile. Why is domicile important? So if a person wants to acquire Indian citizenship, it is an essential requirement for acquiring it. And it also plays an important role in writing a will, or that is intestate succession in. It is also applicable while writing a will, and also if a person has died intestate. Dying intestate means a person has died without writing a will. So it is applicable in both the cases. It plays an important role. Indian Succession Act 1925 provides that succession to immovable property in India is to be regulated by the laws of India wherever a person has domiciled in India at the time of his death. So no matter where the person was domiciled at the time of his death, immovable property will be regulated by law of India. And also the concept of domicile is important while determining the distribution of property after the death of a person. As we have already read section 4 and section 5, section 4 was application of this part and section 5 was the immovable and movable property. So if we talk about section 6, it talks about one domicile affects succession to movable property. So a person can have only one domicile for the purpose of the succession to his movable property. So if a person has two domicile, first of all he cannot have, and in case if he has, so it would be violative of this, it would be contrary to the principle that no person can have at the same time more than one domicile. The remaining principles, the remaining sections are here. So kinds of domicile. There are three ways, there are three kinds of domicile. So the first is domicile of origin, which is under section 7 to 9. Domicile of choice, section 10 to 13, and domicile by operation of law, section 14 to 18. Domicile of origin. It is a settled principle that no man can be without a domicile, as we have discussed earlier, and the law attributes a domicile to every child as soon as he is born. And it is also related to that nobody can be without a domicile. So the domicile which a person acquires at the time of his birth is also known as the domicile of origin or origin of birth. So origin of birth. Domicile of birth. Section 7. Domicile of legitimate child. Who is a legitimate child? Legitimate child is a person who was born when his parents were not married at the time of his birth. An illegitimate child is legitimate child, parents were married at the time of his birth, and illegitimate child, parents were not married at the time of his birth. So legitimate child, the domicile of legitimate child is in the country in which his father was domiciled at the time of his birth. So that legitimate child will acquire the domicile of his father. And posthumous child means he was born after his father's death. So his domicile will be in the country in which the father was domiciled at the time of his father's death. So as per English law, child's birth, at the time of the child's birth, he will be acquiring mother's domicile. English law means law of England. If we talk about domicile of illegitimate child, that is section 8. So the child will be having the domicile in the country where his mother was domiciled at the time of his birth. And section 9 talks about the continuance of domicile of origin. The domicile of origin prevails until a new domicile has been acquired. So it is also a principle that the domicile of origin will continue until a new domicile has been acquired. Domicile of choice. A person of full age and sound mind can acquire a domicile of his choice by voluntary choice, and he acquires this domicile when he resides in a country with the intention of residing there permanently or indefinitely. So there are two factors which are essential for acquiring domicile. First of all, you need to reside there. Residence must be there, that is factum residence, and intention, that is animus menendi. These are Latin terms. Section 10. Acquisition of new domicile. A man acquires a new domicile by taking up his fixed habitation in a country which is not that of his domicile of origin. If a person has different domicile of origin and he wants to take up or acquire a new domicile, he needs to take up a fixed habitation in that country in which he intends to acquire domicile. So there is also a special mode of acquiring domicile which is under section 11. Any person may acquire a domicile in India by making and depositing in some office of India. किसी भी ऑफिस में जाके आपको एक एप्लीकेशन देनी पड़ेगी. एप्लीकेशन इन द सेंस रिटन में एक डिक्लेरेशन देना होगा. कौन सी ऑफिस में? जो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के बिहाफ में चल रहा है, जो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ने अपॉइंट किया है. और उस डिक्लेरेशन में ये देना है कि आई डिज़ायर टू एक्वायर दिस डोमिसाइल. और उस एप्लीकेशन, उस डिक्लेरेशन को देने के बाद he must have been resident in India for 1 year immediately preceding the time of making such a declaration. Section 12. Domicile not acquired by residents as representative of foreign government or as a part of his family. If a person from another foreign country comes to India for a different purpose, I mean he can be sent by his own government to have work done in India. For example, he resides in India for 1 year for the completion of that particular work. So, in this case, mere residence in India does not amount to have the acquisition of domicile, because intention is also a necessary, essential element for taking up a domicile. And also, law always presumes a change of domicile, and the burden of proof is on the person who relies on a change of domicile to prove the intention of abandoning the existence and adopting a new domicile. Which means he has to prove that why he is leaving the previous domicile and acquiring the new one. So burden of proof will be on him. Section 13 is about continuance of new domicile. A new domicile continues until the former domicile has been resumed or another has been acquired. So I don't think I need to explain this. So domicile by operation of law, section 14 to 18. It is also known as domicile of dependence because the people for which this type of acquisition of domicile are dependent on one or another people. It means domicile of dependent person, that is minors, whose domicile is dependent and changes with the domicile of other person, that is minor's parent. So there are 3 categories: minors, married women, and insane persons. The domicile of minor will be changed according to that of his parents. Married women will be changed according to that of his husband, and insane persons to which he is dependent, that is, it can be guardian or parents also. If we talk about minor's domicile, under section 14-17 it is given for minors. Section 14, the domicile of a minor follows the domicile of the person from whom he derived his domicile of origin. So earlier we have read that a person can acquire his domicile of origin from his parents. So the parents' origin will determine the origin of that child. So what is the definition of minor? Minor is nothing but a person and under the age of 18. The Indian Majority Act defines age of majority, that is 18 years in terms of a normal person, normal maybe, and 21 years who is of unsound mind and who is under guardian. A domicile of a minor does not change, here is an exception, does not change with parent if the minor is married, holds a government office, or with parents' consent he is running a business. Section minor's acquisition of new domicile. How a minor can acquire a new domicile. वैसे तो देखा जाए तो माइनॉरिटी के दौरान कोई पर्सन दूसरी डोमिसाइल एक्वायर नहीं कर सकता. अ पर्सन कैन नॉट ड्यूरिंग हिज माइनॉरिटी एक्वायर अ न्यू डोमिसाइल. अगर अडॉप्टेड चिल्ड्रन है तो उसके डोमिसाइल जिसने अडॉप्ट किया है उसको उसके अडॉप्टिव पेरेंट्स के डोमिसाइल के अकॉर्डिंग चेंज हो जाएगी. अडॉप्टेड चिल्ड्रन विल हैव हैज़ द सेम as he had been born out of the wedlock. He takes the domicile of the adoptive parents. If we talk about married women, section 15 talks about the domicile of married women. Section 15, domicile acquired by women on marriage. So by marriage, a woman acquires the domicile of her husband if she had not the same domicile before. शादी के बाद कोई सा भी डोमिसाइल हो किसी औरत का, तो उसकी शादी के बाद उसके हस्बैंड की डोमिसाइल हो जाती है. और अगर हस्बैंड की डोमिसाइल चेंज होती है तो उसकी भी डोमिसाइल ऑटोमेटिकली चेंज हो जाएगी हस्बैंड की डोमिसाइल के अकॉर्डिंग. सो एज वी हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट द मैरिड वुमेन्स डोमिसाइल, वी ऑल्सो नीड टू टॉक अबाउट द विडोज डोमिसाइल. सो विडोज डोमिसाइल विल कंटिन्यू अकॉर्डिंग एज पर हर हस्बैंड्स डोमिसाइल. It will continue until she acquires a new domicile for herself. And section 16, wife's domicile during marriage. A wife's domicile during her marriage follows the domicile of her husband. हस्बैंड के डोमिसाइल के ही अकॉर्डिंग उसकी शादी जब तक है उसके साथ, हस्बैंड के साथ, तब तक चलेगी हस्बैंड के अकॉर्डिंग. दो कंडीशंस है कि अगर दोनों सेपरेट हो गए हैं काफ़ी दिनों से कोर्ट के ऑर्डर की वजह से, इफ़ दे हैव बीन सेपरेटेड फॉर टू लॉन्ग, then she can acquire a new domicile. And in the second case, husband is sentenced to life imprisonment or maybe transportation. So in those cases, wife's domicile will not be according to the husband's domicile. Lunatics or insane persons domicile. Section 18, an insane person cannot acquire a new domicile in any other way than his domicile following the domicile of another person. What do I mean by another person here? Another person on whom are the people on whom the lunatic is dependent. In the case of minor, it will be parent, and women I have made reference to the earlier sections. So the lunatic person's domicile also changes according to the person on who he is dependent, that is of another person under whose care he is. And who is a lunatic? He has acquired madness after birth either due to disease or injury. सर में किसी भी चोट लगने की वजह से या फिर किसी बीमारी के होने की वजह से उसकी बर्थ के बाद, वो बर्थ से lunatic नहीं था, उसने मैडनेस एक्वायर की है बर्थ के बाद डिजीज़ या इंजरी की वजह से, उसको हम lunatic बोलेंगे. So certain people are confused between domicile and residence. So domicile is nothing but it is a permanent house, and residence is a permanent home and temporary home. So in order to acquire a domicile, residence plus intention is needed to live indefinitely in the place. Intention to live indefinitely to mean हमेशा के लिए रहने की इंटेंशन होनी चाहिए वहाँ पे जिस भी रेजिडेंस में आप है फ़िलहाल. एंड रेजिडेंस इज़ जस्ट लिविंग इन दैट पर्टिकुलर प्लेस. सो ऑल डोमिसाइल कैन इंक्लूड रेजिडेंस, बट ऑल रेजिडेंस कैनॉट मीन डोमिसाइल. So we have already discussed section 4 to section 18, and section 19 is left, that is succession to movable property in the absence of proof of domicile elsewhere. अगर कोई इंसान अपनी मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी इंडिया में छोड़ के उसकी अगर डेथ हो जाती है और उसकी डोमिसाइल की प्रूफ नहीं मिल पा रही है कि उसकी डोमिसाइल का प्रूफ है किधर का है डोमिसाइल, कहीं का भी हो अगर, तो सक्सेशन ऑफ प्रॉपर्टी इज़ रेगुलेटेड बाय इंडिया, लॉ ऑफ इंडिया. अगर उसका डोमिसाइल नहीं मिल पा रहा है, देयर इज़ एब्सेंस ऑफ प्रूफ ऑफ हिज डोमिसाइल, देन द सक्सेशन टू हिज मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी विल बी रेगुलेटेड एज पर द लॉ ऑफ इंडिया. थैंक यू. आई होप you understood this topic. Thank you so much. So I'll be coming up with the new topic. Stay tuned. Thank you.